Stop me if you've heard this one before. The English Montreal School Board is suing the Quebec government. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fifth lawsuit in the saga between the English Montreal School Board and the Quebec government. Let's find out what's behind this latest lawsuit and go straight to the top. Joe Ortona is the chair of the EMSB. He's on the line. Joe, welcome back to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Tell our listeners here, why are you suing the Quebec government this time?
Well, I wish we didn't have to sue them anytime. I wish they would just, listen to the community's needs and actually respect the Constitution and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But they're now circumventing the Bill 40 win that we got, where the judges were very clear and they said the English-speaking community has a right to manage and control their system, and that means that they have elected representatives that get to make decisions with tax collection and where monies are spent and what we choose to prioritize. And the government just went around the back door and on a bill basically that had to do with laicity, decided to overhaul the governance structure of the Montreal Island School Tax Committee and got rid of all of the elected representatives that sit there and now replace them with bureaucrats that are mostly appointed by the government of Quebec. So they essentially took control of how the tax money is spent on the island of Montreal.
So what your lawsuit says is that the members of this committee, right, that distributes the school tax revenue on the island of Montreal, that the members of the committee, they should be coming from your board, from the other English board on the island, the Lester B. Pearson board, and not named by the government.
Absolutely. This is a structure that exists only for the island of Montreal because off-island, the school taxes are collected directly by the school boards and the school service centers. But on the island, we've always had this structure whereby the tax is collected collectively and then distributed where there are needs that are that require extra funding, like inner city schools, like schools that are in neighborhoods that have a certain clientele that are disadvantaged financially. Mm-hmm. And we always make sure to take care of those who have extra needs by giving them a little bit more. But elected representatives have always made those decisions based on the needs of the community. We now have the government controlling most of the appointees there who are going to be making the decisions based on the interests of Quebec City and not based on the interests of the boroughs and the cities in Montreal.
So I was going to ask you why some of the other boards hadn't gotten involved here, but of course, as you just mentioned, right, this is for the island of Montreal. Is Lester B. Pearson, is that school board joining this suit?
I know that they've had discussions about it. I don't know what they have decided, if they have decided anything yet. But we had consulted with our lawyers on the EMSB side, and once they advised us that they were ready to go, we felt we didn't need to wait for anybody else. We went ahead and did this. I think it's important to send a message to this government that they don't just get to override our rights, especially when the courts have reaffirmed these rights. This is the Court of Appeal of Quebec that basically said in the Bill 40 decision that the government can't just do whatever they want when it comes to English language education, and the government is just ignoring that decision completely.
Why do you think? Like you said, you've got a string of rulings that have gone in your favor, especially with Bill 40 here. Why do you think, despite your legal victories, the Quebec government seemingly doesn't care about that and just does what they want?
It could be any number of reasons. One is they are to a certain extent completely ignorant when it comes to Section 23. They don't understand what it means. They don't understand management and control. They don't understand consultation with the English-speaking community or how broadly those rights extend. In large part, it has to do with the fact that if they do get it, they don't care. They feel that education is just provincial jurisdiction, and therefore they have absolute authority to do whatever they want. And part of it is that it actually plays to their base when we have these battles, because there seem to be battles along linguistic lines, right? It's the English-speaking community, it's the English language school board taking on the government of Quebec again, and so it plays to their base that we're just angry phones, and so they actually like score political points when they're in when they find themselves in court with us. But this has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with just respecting the Constitution, and we have protected rights, and we have management and control over our school system.
Joe, Francois Legault is leaving. So, and that big news last week, and we've had discussions in the past, a hope that once if it's not the CAQ government, that the tone would change. Do you have hopes here that once Francois Legault is gone, even with the CAQ, that there will be a change on how matters like this are handled?
Well, how could I and how could anybody have that expectation with this government? We had the worst education minister in recent history, in Jean-François Roberge. When he was gone, people said, we got to be hopeful. It can't get worse than the worst. And then we got Bernard Drainville, who was actually worse. And so, the party has a vision. And the party's vision has been to say that education is their number one priority, and then completely destroy the education system. So whether it's Francois Legault, whether it's going to be someone else, I don't think they're going to be there for very long, in my opinion. They'll be there until October. But I don't think anything is going to change in that regard. I think we desperately need a new government here, and one that is open to actually listening to what the needs are of the local communities when it comes to education, and create a partnership with the school boards. And until we have a government that understands that, we're always going to be in litigation, because that's what we are. We are partners. The education system is not supposed to be top down, where the bureaucrats from Quebec City decide everything, and we just comply. That's not how it works.
It does seem insane that you have a government that seemingly actively wants the English Montreal School Board to be headed to court. They could stop all of this. It's cost a lot of money to head to court, and that's got to come from somewhere. So I feel the frustration there. Joe, before I let you go, you've also got your role as president of the Quebec English School Boards Association. That group running a campaign right now to remind English speakers in this province about their eligibility certificates for themselves and for their children, even if they don't need one, or you need one right now. You're trying to make the case that everyone should get theirs. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, we've seen with this government, with all the new rules and under Bill 96, and now the caps that they've implemented for non-rights holders that can go to English CEGEP, the message is very clear. For anybody who is a Section 23 rights holder, or someone who has English eligibility and can get it for their children, get it, whether you choose to send your children to a private school or a French public school. Get it anyway, because you never know when the child is going to need it. And unfortunately, you can't get an eligibility certificate under this government once you've reached the age of majority. So if you choose at 18 years old with an English CEGEP and there's no room for you because they're only taking people with English eligibility, you're not going to be able to get that certificate. So get it when your child is 3 or 4 years old. It's for life. And then it can be passed on to the next generation, even if you never go to English school. So why limit yourself and close any doors? Leave all of the options open for your children. I think that's a great message.
If I want to get it for my child, how do I do it?
If you're in the EMSB territory, for example, you can go to the EMSB website. You can, online set up an appointment. You show up at our head office. We have a whole department that helps you do that. Make sure that your paperwork is in order. Make sure that you have all of the official documents. and that everything is complete to send over to the ministry. We don't actually provide the eligibility certificates. They are only provided by the Ministry of Education.
All right, Joe, listen, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on this morning and talking about the various battles. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Joe Ortona, chair of the English Montreal School Board.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.